Greetings, YouTube. Today we're looking at the SOG or SOG Flare. I don't have any packaging for this particular knife because I purchased this at a pawn shop for 15 bucks. Interestingly, they had two flares still in their like blister packs, you know, the ones that hang on a peg, and they were asking 25 bucks a pop for those, and this one didn't have any packaging and it's in like new condition, so I'm like, I'll take the $15 one because I'm not going to really carry this thing. I bought this strictly for the video. Sometimes occasionally I give these away. This may be one of the ones I give away because I gotta tell you, SOG is not really impressing me, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the first thing you're going to see is that we have a theoretical deep pocket carry clip. I say theoretical because this is kind of tight, and the peak of the radius is not in line with the scale. It's not far off, but you're actually going to get it'll maybe come to the end of the scale itself, but it's not going to go as deep as the clip itself. It's kind of unusual. I'm not used to seeing a pocket clip that comes over the knife and goes into the center. That is not a particular design feature I've seen a great deal of. You're going to notice right off the bat that this is plastic grips. I don't know what the plastic in question is, and they probably have some spiffy in-house name for it, but it's just plastic to me. It is an asymmetrical design that this particular scale is the bulk of it, and this particular scale is only about 25% of it. So that this scale is this thick, and then this scale is the rest. So you know it's only coming to there. It does have some molded jimping, and this is quite comfortable. The edges and everything are all nice. The centering is not bad. Again, this is a used knife, so I don't know how much this person carried it, but it's still not that shabby at all. Dual thumb studs, and it does have the tiered ziggurat style that I happen to like, though the end is flat as opposed to a dome. I prefer a dome on my thumb studs because I feel it kind of acts like a little ball bearing on your skin, and it makes it better. You have your pivots here. This one has the adjustment, and this one is static. Okay, and you'll notice that there is a complexity on this particular scale. You have this switch here, and you have this here, and then you have the thumb stud. So this is an assisted opening knife. There's a torsion bar in here. And this is a safety lock to keep said torsion bar, assisted opening knife blade in place. So when it's in this position, I think I've got that in the right position. Yeah, when it's in that position, the blade will not launch. When you're drawing this from the pocket, though, this falls into this position where your thumb is. So as you're drawing it, it's real easy to do that. So now it is in the unlocked position. So there we go. And the blade is open. Now, one of the things about this lock, it kind of makes me think of a knockoff in-house version of an Axis lock. It's not an Axis lock, obviously, it's only on one side, but it kind of has that vibe. But it's engaged at the moment. There's no fault here. It's just this is what it does. And I find that intensely irritating. Like every piece of expertise I have ever acquired in my life when it comes to machined items and pieces of technology and faceting things down properly is screaming like, you're not supposed to have loose things on a knife. And you have a loose thing on this. Bug me. So here we have the blade. There is no jimping on it. It has a nice swedge. The grinds are symmetrical. This is a hollow grind, but this particular hollow grind is very shallow. I'm not a fan of hollow grinds. I never have been. But this is so shallow that it doesn't really bother me a whole lot. Then it comes to a secondary bevel, and even though this is a used knife, the edge is in excellent condition. So it looks like, I don't know if this was, I don't know how the person acquired this, but they may have never used it for all I know, but it didn't have any packaging. I'm not sure, maybe the packaging was damaged. But it is a nice shape, and the blade is sharp, which is always a bonus. And there is the logo SOG, and it says flare, as well as it molded into, interestingly, both sides of the scales, even though this scale is then obscured by the clips. So you've got like SOG and then SOG. I do happen to like the cutout in the clip. I will say that appeals to me. The knife is kind of tip heavy, and the handle feels very cheap. I have to say, this plastic, it's this hollow kind of sensation. It doesn't have the solidity of G10, and I understand why, because they've got quite a bit of mechanisms going on inside this device. So there's a lot going on in here. Now, to close the knife, you're pulling back on this. You then have to close it and overcome the tension bar, which is this is definitely strong. Now, so pops open nice. There's no damn way I can close this. I've tried it. There is no way I can close this one hand. It just cannot be done. Now, I know you're going to say, well, that's one of the things you have to deal with on an assisted opening knife. And that's one of the reasons that I actually have come to not be a big fan of assisted opening knives. Let me give you an idea. This is a manual knife, okay? That is almost as fast as that. And this, I can close with one hand. So I prefer a knife that I can open and close with one hand. Now, if I had the ability to do that, this lock wouldn't be bad, because I could then do that and then push it closed. But because it is so stiff, I can't. In addition, when you're closing it, it's very grindy. It's like you can feel the texture of the washer, whatever there, going against the grain, the direction of the grind on the blade. It's like you can feel the metal moving against each other in a very uncomfortable, again, this was not done properly kind of vibe. This makes me think of that, and then I've got this grind. It's very unpleasant. Now, let's see if I can actually get, I don't know if I can get the angle right. If I can get the angle right, because if you can see just right, you can actually pull back on this. I don't think I can. It's hard to see with my bare eyes, but you can see this. You can actually see the lock disengage because you're pulling back on the lock. I'm not 100% sure why they went with this particular design. And I have to say that a knife that is assisted opening but cannot maintain its closed position without an additional lock, to me, is a design fail. That is an admission from the designers that this is not well done, so we had to put this in here as a backup. That bugs me. Again, it makes me think it speaks to poor design. Because if your assisted opening knife is designed properly, it will stay closed in its folded position. I am not going to have to worry about it popping open. And it takes a fair amount of pressure. Make sure I get that in the right position. Yeah. Make sure a fair amount of pressure to get that out. This isn't just going to pop out of my open in my pocket, in my opinion. But yeah, I got to tell you, I'm not really impressed with this. I haven't been. Over the last few years, I've tried a few SOG knives, and the SOG line is not impressing me at all. I'm very likely to just give this away to somebody. I'm like, hey man, I think this is a bit of a dud, but if you want a folding knife and you like this brand, here you go. So yeah, not impressed with this model. This is cheap. This, I think, speaks to a poor design. This is just sloppy as hell. Closing it is difficult. And you mean the blade shape and everything. If you put this on a manual knife with more of a conventional liner lock and G10 scales, I think I would have been happy. You know, give me a belt clip that, you know, a pocket clip rather, that is a little bit more conventional. I think I would have been happy overall. And if anybody knows
why they made the design decisions they made for this, I would love to know. That would be cool. Alrighty, so this has been the SOG Flare. If you're a big SOG fan, maybe you'll like this. Me, I was not overly impressed. Thank you for being here. Hope you'll return next time.